So you've probably heard the name OpenClaw floating around lately, right? And your first thought is probably about that incredibly popular AI agent. Well, we're not here to talk about that one today. We're going to dig into the story of the other OpenClaw, a project with a history that goes all the way back to a much-loved pirate cat-themed video game from 1997.
Yeah, right now, when someone says OpenClaw, your mind almost certainly jumps to one very specific, very popular project. It's been all over the tech world, and honestly, for good reason. It's a huge deal.
And you're not wrong. You're thinking of that viral AI assistant. Can you believe it started as just a weekend project called WhatsApp Relay and then just blew up? It now has over 100,000 stars on GitHub. It's this awesome open source agent that kind of just lives on your computer and works through your chat apps. It's a real game changer. But nope, that is not our story for today. We're going to wind the clock way back to explore a completely different project that just happens to share the same name. And this one, well, it's a real treasure for gamers, for preservationists, and for anyone who loves a bit of digital archaeology.
Okay, so first things first, let's put these two projects side by side just to make sure we're all on the same page and get this confusion cleared up.
All right, on the left, you've got the AI agent. It's a modern tool built with TypeScript, and it's all about autonomous task automation, turning a large language model into your own personal assistant. But on the right, that's our focus, the OpenClaw game engine. This is a C++ project, and its entire reason for being is retro game preservation. Its goal is to run one specific game from 1997. So yeah, same name, totally different worlds. Now, to really understand why this game engine is so special, you first have to understand the game at the heart of it all. We're talking about a truly fantastic title that, like so many from its time, has become almost impossible to play on any modern computer. We are talking about the one and only Captain Claw. It was a 2D side-scrolling platformer that Monolith Productions put out way back in 1997. In the game, you play as Captain Nathaniel Joseph Claw, who is, you guessed it, an anthropomorphic pirate cat on this epic quest to find the amulet of 9 lives. People loved it for its beautiful art, its really tough gameplay, and just this amazing sense of adventure. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Back when it came out, GameSpot called it, and I quote, easily the finest modern side-scroller available for the PC. Pretty high praise. But it also got a reputation for being brutally difficult, which is part of why it eventually became such a beloved cult classic.
So, the big question is, why can't you just install it and play it today? Well, Claw was built for Windows 95. Your modern Windows 11 machine, your Mac, your Linux box, they just don't speak that language anymore. It's a classic case of what we call abandonware, fantastic software that's basically lost to time because the digital world it was built for has just disappeared.
But you know, for a really dedicated community, unusable is just another word for a challenge. Over the years, a few different ways have popped up to bring Captain Claw back from the dead, and each one has its own unique approach. Let's start with the coolest and most important one, engine reimplementation. The idea here is just fascinating. Instead of trying to trick the old game into running, you basically build a brand new engine from scratch. Developers use a modern language like C++ and all the modern libraries for graphics and sound. Think of it like taking the classic body of a vintage car and putting it on a brand new, high-performance frame. And this is where you really see the payoff. The OpenClaw engine has amazing platform support. It runs natively on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and it fully supports modern hardware. Now, compare that to emulation. Sure, emulation is accurate, but it can be slow and a real headache to set up. And the patched executable? That's a clever little hack, but it only works on Windows and it can be pretty finicky. For most people who just want to play the game without any fuss, the engine is hands down the winner. So, are you sold? You want to give it a shot? Okay, let's walk through how to get it set up. It's actually surprisingly easy, but there is one absolutely critical, non-negotiable requirement you have to meet first.
All right, I need you to listen really closely here, because this is the single most important part. The OpenClaw engine itself is just code. It contains absolutely none of the original game's art or sound or levels, nothing. To actually play the game, you have to provide those assets from a legal copy of the game that you already own. This is what keeps the whole project ethical and legal. It's a modern engine, not a pirate operation.
The magic file you're looking for is named claw.res.
You should be able to find it on your original game CD or maybe in a digital backup you made. It's going to be somewhere between 40 and 50 megabytes. That one file has everything the engine needs to bring the game to life.
And from there, the process is as simple as 1, 2, 3. Step 1, get that clo.res file and stick it in a new folder somewhere. Step 2, head over to the OpenClaw game engine's official repository, find the releases, and download the latest version for your computer. Unzip it into that same folder. And step 3, just run it. The engine is smart enough to automatically look for that clo.res file right there in its own directory. Of course, sometimes things go wrong. If you get an error saying it can't find CLAURES, just double-check that the file is in the exact same folder as the engine. If you're on Windows and see something about a missing SDL2.dll, no big deal. Just grab the free SDL2 runtime library and drop that file into the folder too. And for you Linux users, if you don't have any music, you probably just need to install a MIDI synthesizer, something like Timidity++. Easy peasy. Okay, so we've covered the how, but let's just zoom out for a second and talk about the why. Because this whole project is so much more than just a way to play an old game. It's a perfect example of community-driven digital preservation in action. By separating the game's core logic from all its art and sound data, projects like the OpenClaw engine let the fans themselves become caretakers. They're making sure that a really cool piece of software history doesn't just fade away into nothing. They're keeping it alive and playable for a whole new generation on brand new hardware. So what are the big lessons here? Well, first, it shows the real value of digital ownership. Because you need your own copy of the game's assets, it promotes a much more sustainable and ethical way to preserve things. Second, it highlights the power of separating an engine from its data. That's a huge principle in modern software development. And finally, it's just an amazing testament to what a dedicated community can pull off through some seriously meticulous reverse engineering. And all of that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Captain Claw has been saved, thanks to this incredible effort. But what other classic, hard-to-run game out there do you think deserves the same treatment? What piece of digital history is worth saving with a brand new open-source engine?